The CIA might have just confirmed alien life as former director John Brennan comes forward to speak about alien life forms and what he thinks the most logical hypothesis is on UFOs. This is absolutely bloody insane, and I found this on a Reddit post actually. It popped up on my feed and I wanted to make a video about it because the way that John Brennan speaks about potential alien life forms, there's a lot more than he's letting on that he knows. He's well aware of something. It's crazy. So this came to my attention when I found this post that says former CIA director John Brennan, and he was the CIA director from 2013 to 2017, is asked what he thinks the most likely hypothesis for UFOs is. He starts talking about other life in the universe and says the phenomenon involves unexplained activity we don't yet understand. Quote, some might say constitutes a different form of life. This came from a director of the CIA. The CIA. These guys, and the FBI, and, you know, the Men in Black, or whoever you claim them to be, these guys are the ones with the lowdown. They're in the Pentagon, they've got this information. So, we're going to take a little look at this video, but although he says that it might, you know, constitute to other life forms or whatever, I don't know where that came from, constitute. I definitely think there's a lot more that he's not letting on, or there's a lot more to what he's letting on. Anyway, let's take a little look at this interview.
What do you think is the most likely hypothesis?
That laugh in itself, you know, he's looking down, he's chuckled, he's like, okay, how do I answer this?
I don't know. You know, when people talk about it, you know, is there other life besides what's in the United States, in the world?
Now, before he carries on, I just want you to note his body language here. His body language is closed, very closed. Now, I'm not a body language expert. I don't read people's body language, but you know, being an ex-teacher, you know, I've spoken to a lot of children and like within this kind of capacity, and it's like you read the body language over what they actually say because it tells a lot more. So read the body language, very closed off, head down, not much eye contact. You know, you'll see.
The globe. You know, life is defined in many different ways. I think it's a bit presumptuous, if not arrogant, for us to believe that there's no other form of life anywhere in the entire universe. What that might, you know, be is, I think, you know, subject to, you know, a lot of different views. But I think some of the phenomena we might be seeing continues to be unexplained. And might in fact be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't yet understand, and that could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life.
Now, just looking at that from the perspective of just watching it, first of all, there's a lot of discomfort there. He's answering the question, yes, but it's very political in the way that he answers it. He's not directly answering the question, like, you know, he hasn't actually given a direct answer to the question, which is, what's the hypothesis around UFOs? He's gone, well, you know, which says to me that there's a lot more that this man knows that we aren't aware of. And there's a lot more to this that we aren't aware of that he probably is not allowed to say. Now, that's obviously, you know, I'm making assumptions there. I can't actually say for certain. He might be saying all, like, you know, that might be all his knowledge on it. But he hasn't, what's interesting about it is the fact that he hasn't shut it down. He's not been like, no, it's not aliens, it's meteors, it's military projects, which, you know, he'll have knowledge on. It's military projects, it's this, it's that. He's gone, first of all, it would be really stupid of us to sit here and think that we are the only beings in this ever-expanding universe, which I completely agree with. And also, if you listen towards the end of the answer, I think here.
Anywhere in the entire universe. What that might be is, I think, subject to a lot of different views.
Now, that tells me that he's aware of something, but what that something is would be down to a lot of different views. Now, the way I've interpreted it is religion would play a huge factor in this, of course, based on your religious standpoints. Your idea of what an alien actually is would also play a huge factor in this. Your outlook on life, there's so many factors that play into this, which of course, it could play into the part of why we don't know anything yet. Because imagine you've got religion as an example, and religion has been followed practice for thousands and thousands of years. If you take how do I say it delicately without upsetting people? If you take someone's perception of life based off of their religion, and you provide this information, how would that affect that person, for example, who's been following this religion their entire life? This is their way of life, and then this could potentially contradict that of what they've been told or taught. I think that's delicately put. I'm sorry if that's... I hope I haven't offended anyone with that, by the way. I don't like to talk about religion or politics, but, it's relevant to the point that I'm trying to make. Because it would spark outrage, it would spark upset, it would cause mayhem. You take this religion that's huge. Like, religion is a huge aspect of life, no matter what religion you practice. But to be able for someone to say, like, maybe contradict that or provide potential evidence that contradicts what your religion says could cause upset, and you can see why. And there's a lot of things that I should stop talking. Carrying on.
But I think some of the phenomena we might be seeing continues to be unexplained, and might in fact be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't yet understand.
Listen to the words there. This man is the former director of the CIA. He would have had the rundown on everything. And he's talking about phenomenon that we don't yet understand and things that are unexplained. Those are some very specific words. If we had understanding of what these things are, this man would just be like, no, it's a SpaceX program, it's this, it's military, it's this, it's that, it's that. But he's saying it's unexplained, unidentified, we don't know what it is, and we don't have enough information to be able to declare that we know what this is. What has he seen? That begs the question. I would love to be a fly on the wall just for like 10 minutes of one of these briefings where they're like, look, Mr. Brennan, this has come into our skies, this has been sighted. We can't identify what it is. It's not military, it could be from another country that we're not aware of, but it's not likely. It just suddenly appeared and disappeared. What would the conversation be in that room at that moment? How would that conversation pan out? I would love to be a fly on the wall during those times, but I found that I know it's just a minute clip, but there's a lot said in that minute clip, and there's a lot more than just the words that we used. There was the body language, there was the alluding to something more without actually saying it. And I'm under no impression, I fully believe that this man is probably not allowed to discuss a lot of the things that went on during his time as the director. I'm sure he's not allowed to talk about a lot of the things that went on. I'm fully aware that he's probably under so many NDAs, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the amount of classified information he probably knows about that he's not allowed to share is absolutely ridiculous. But I think we got a lot from that. A lot more than I think he got across more than what his words did, if that makes sense. I think that was probably the idea. Now, kind of a little bit off topic for the video, but moving keeping with this information and disclosure of information, Dr. Stephen Greer, a man that's very notorious within the UFO community, some people love him, some people don't love him, some people think he's not factually correct, some people believe the kiss the ground that he walks on. Whatever your take on it is, he had a discussion on when the disclosure of UAP information not only should happen, but potentially would happen. Let's take a little listen to this.
Good with this. And I think that's really in the hands of man, woman, and child on the planet. So I think the responsibility, ironically, yes, our leaders and these very powerful interests do have a lot of responsibility. But I agree with you. With each new administration or new leader in another country, these are the people who do disclose. And I've been saying for 20 years, I mean, remember the 2001 Disclosure Project Press Club event, I did because I had already decided and concluded that the governments of the world won't do it unless we do it first. So if the people lead, the leaders will follow. So we, the people, have to provide the impetus, the leadership, the vision. And
I think that's actually happening a lot more in today's age with the likes of social media and people having a voice without it having to be monitored by networks and, censored by networks, leaders. You got to think back even maybe 10, 15 years ago. If you wanted a story out there, you'd go to your local newspaper, you'd go to your local press, your local news station, radio station, whatever. But that was heavily censored by world leaders, for example. Maybe not the newspapers, but especially television. The news, it was all monitored and it was all censored to a degree. Now though, there's a lot more freedom in the sense that I here with this YouTube channel, I say whatever I want. But the repercussions are on me. So if I say something that is completely politically incorrect and whatever, I can be cancelled, which would be absolutely right, by the way, and I would never do that. But I've got the freedom to be able to kind of speak about UFOs or aliens or maybe even something completely different that, maybe wouldn't be covered by the press or the news stations because they would be suppressed in what they would be allowed to say under the guise of, money and influence and all the rest of it. Whereas, YouTube ultimately is my platform. I could be suppressed by YouTube, but it's not common to happen. And also, the video gets uploaded and it would be seen by thousands of people before that suppression would even happen. And the message is already out there by that point. People have got screenshots, screen recordings, and then it spreads further and further and further, resharing, retweeting, outroar, public outrage. People have got a lot more of a voice now. So I totally believe that.
I think that is a message of empowerment. It sort of scares people because people would rather sit in front of their television looking at TV and eating Cheetos. But in reality, this is a call for people to pick up this responsibility themselves. Everybody else, have someone else do it. No, everyone listening to this needs to understand you are not you, but all of us together are responsible for disclosure, for funding and supporting zero-point energy systems, for making contact with these civilizations. You don't need, if you want permission, I will give you permission. You have permission to make contact with these civilizations on behalf of the human race.
I mean, that's all well and good, but I don't know where I'm going to get the technology, Mr. Stephen Greer, to go buzz up my mate over in Mars. You know what I mean? Literally, I think that's very easy to say. And the premise and the point is valid. Yes, we don't need permission to go and do these things, and we don't need to go and seek world leaders, but also we haven't got the millions of pounds that these world leaders do have, and they inject into these corporations and businesses like NASA or whatever to be able to make this communication. So, a bit of a double-ended sword there.
You don't need the head of Army Intelligence to say yes you can, or the president. You're a child of Earth and you can do this, and this is what people have to do. So I think it's more about us taking responsibility for ourselves, our planet, and our future, and not look to the fact that Big Brother somewhere is going to do this for us, because that kind of dependency is a trap. I think we have to be in charge of disclosure We have to be in charge of releasing these technologies. And we have to be also, we the people, in charge of an interplanetary peaceful diplomatic initiative, which is really how I started, why I got involved with all this. It wasn't disclosure. It's creating conscious people who understood the nature of the cosmos and the conscious universe within us. And
I think we need the maturation of the human race. We need to gain some wisdom. I think that's
we have the wisdom. We just have to own it.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's less wisdom, more maturity with the information that we've got. I mean, you could give this information to anybody and the ability, but without the right maturity, you can't go about it the right way, if that makes sense. So I am absolutely not the best person to be contacting aliens, because with that much power, I would be totally irresponsible. But if you gave it to someone with more maturity and more, smarts about them, who could probably ask the correct questions, they're far more, I would much rather they had the power in their hands. If someone gave it to me, I'd literally be asking, like, whoa, what's space like? Even though we know what space is like. Is there gravity in space? No, there's not. Then you're an idiot. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it comes with maturity as well.
All the knowledge and all the wisdom we need to make this leap into a new civilization exists today. All the technologies we need to have a sustainable, high-tech civilization we have today. It's all there. The missing link is the courage, the integrity, the vision to do it. There are people who are very supportive.
I think the vision's there. I mean, not many people believe in or like Elon Musk. Personally, I don't have a problem with the guy, but I think he's got the vision, and he's got the influence, and he's got the power. He's got all the things that Mr. Greer's just kind of labelled there. He's got all of that to be able to, literally at the palm of his hands, that amount of disposable income that he's got, he could literally go and do all those things, and he practically is, to a degree. So we have got that, I think, but it's just about having, again, the right person to do it.
Of this disclosure happening. The problem is moral support and taking dispositive action are two different things. And I think that the courage and integrity and willing to take the hit to your reputation.
And maybe your pension.
Look at the things that are said about me. There aren't a lot of people who, it's one thing if you, whatever, but there aren't a lot of folks who give up their professional career or their political career. And so, to give you one little vignette, I had a meeting for about 11 hours with one of the deputy directors of the National Science Foundation and one of the 5 directors of NASA some years ago. And they were very, very supportive and interested in this. And they were dealing specifically with climate change and the problems with the biosphere. And the one was in charge of all the satellite imaging of the biosphere. And she told me back then that if the public knew how much trouble we were in, there'd be widespread panic.
I think we're quite aware of the issue at hand, and I think, it doesn't take a genius to look at the issues on Earth. We have butchered this planet. This planet is doomed. There is no two ways about it. I think it's even probably too late to start backpedaling. We can probably prolong the Earth, but I don't think we can save it. I think as humans, we're a very ignorant species. We are very much about ourselves, and the betterment of our own kind, but that came at a huge cost, which was our home. That's just my take on it. I know there's a lot of people that don't even believe in global warming, which that's completely up to you. I'm getting so political. I need to stop. I'm going to go upset so many people. I'm sorry if I've upset you.
But I said, well, will you help us? And they said, no, this whole subject is too controversial and dangerous. It'd be the end of our careers. So I thought to myself, my career is here. The future of the human race and the planet is here. And so they choose to careerism.
And that's the issue. That's how we become, that's why we're ignorant as a species. People are selfish. There's no two ways about it. Human beings are selfish people. Or a selfish race. we're just not, like, we're not good for ourselves, really, are we? We're just the worst.
So at a certain point, people have to make a decision. This was the very hard decision I had to make a few years ago about my own career. Will I stay as an emergency doctor and have a comfortable upper middle class life doing this and that and the esteem of people for doing what I'm doing, or become, as Lawrence Rockefeller told me I would be, sort of the court jester and made fun of and demeaned and defamed. But, you know, I made the decision, I don't really care, you know, what other people think. I care about what the right thing is to do. But that's very hard to find in the upper echelons of these bureaucracies, government, and corporations. This is why I keep returning to the fact that, yes, there are a lot of people following disclosure, a lot of people supportive, but they don't want to lead it. Remember my story about Lawrence Rockefeller making his fingers like this, talking about the flock of geese?
Not even he wanted to lead it.
And he was towards the end of his life. He wanted to be way back here. He didn't want to be up here. So I think...
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because it does get very... It's got a lot more political than I would have liked it to. But I think, you know, the idea is... The sentiment's there, you know. Everyone wants the change. Nobody wants to lead the change because of, you know, the potential fallout and all the rest of it. But I think the whole idea around disclosure is great. And I think that the message behind all the political stuff is brilliant. You know, I think we absolutely, you know, we've got the power in our hands to disclose information if we have it. Only if we have it, not misinformation. We don't want to be spreading misinformation because that's bad. It's just counterproductive. But if you've got the information, but then again, you know, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because yes, you might have the information, you might have the answer to life, but what if people aren't ready to hear the answer of life? What if it just completely ruins their lives? You know, they could have spent the past 50 years, for example, following a religion that says this is the meaning of life, and then your reasoning comes in and you're gonna say, no, this is the actual meaning of life, here's the facts. First of all, they might not listen. Second of all, you know, you could utterly rain on their parade, which, you know, is not good. Nobody wants that. Yeah, this video got way off topic. Anyway, question. Oh god, I'm getting cancelled after this video. Have the CIA actually, finally, potentially, inadvertently provided information that there is alien life out there? That's the question to you. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And what do you think about disclosure? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that. Are we ready to hear about it, or are we not? Is that why it's been so heavily suppressed, as people tend to believe? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. If I've offended anybody, I do apologise greatly. It was not my intent. I did try and be as politically neutral as possible, but I don't know if I did that. Yeah. Well, if I haven't upset you, I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace. Please don't cancel me.